Hi, girls. Hope you're doing well. I've thought let's have a late night conversation about a topic that's important. So you've seen it there on the title. We're talking about the booty call. So all these conversations we're having, Date Like Cleopatra, the book is out by Shiro Nduna. The Good Girl Flips the Script. This book is now out. It's available near you. It's on Amazon. If you're in Nairobi, I'll provide the number where you can get it and get it delivered within Nairobi. So, the reason we're talking about all these topics of late is because they affect your dating life. So, let us set the stage of what's happening. So, let's assume you have been in bed. You are about to sleep. It's a late night. You had your tea. You had your late night tea. You've unwound and you are ready to go. Then what happens? Ati some guy texts you. Now I look at it with such disgust. But many of us have been there. I always say that in this series there's deniability. We allow space for deniability. So you get a text. It's 11 at night, you get a text. Then what do? Rush out of bed. Imagine you change the bed sheets. Hi, you change the sheets, you change your outfit. Why? To be ready for this guy who at 11 at night has said he'll pass by at midnight. It's so cringe. It's so cringe, as in, if we just take a pause there and look at that scene, let us deconstruct that scene. Let us deconstruct what has happened. You, first of all, have given someone this level of access to you, where they are living their life, they're doing whatever it is that they do, and they can decide that today is the day that they feel like coming over to yours. And we all know what for her. I don't want to be banned by YouTube by giving too much of the details, but that's already there in the title. So you have been on standby. You have nothing to do. Your life is just here to sit and wait. Can you imagine reducing yourself to that? Reducing the level of access that this guy has to you. These are the guys, incidentally, who after some point you'll be like, what are we? I laugh now, but those conversations were so painful. It used to be so painful. You're going out with a guy and you have no idea where you stand in the relationship. You don't know what he really thinks about you. Why? Because in your mind, it is what he thinks about you that is important. What you think about him doesn't matter. No. Again, let's come back. Date Like Cleopatra. That's what this book is really about. It talks about how we have been, I really want to use the word brainwashed as women. How we have been brainwashed to believe that we are the ones begging for attention, that we are the ones following and hoping, clinging again for, praying to God that this man will love us, that they will like us, that they will give us a second look. To be so overjoyed at the idea that you got a text at 11 at night. No, 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 no. Scrap that. Put that in the past. No, forget it. You are important. You are the most important. To allow someone to have such access to you is to completely diminish yourself. It is to degrade yourself and to say that I am not important. That and I remember the step and the glee and the happiness that comes with it, thinking that finally it's my turn. He chose me. No, 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 no. Take me as your bigger sister telling you that that is not at all what it is about. And even when you do go down that path, those are not the relationships that lead to anything. Absolutely not. Because relationships are partly founded on respect. Respect. Someone who calls you at 11 texts. Hey, someone who texts you at 11, um, does not respect you. Because when they do respect you, they value you and they consider your time to be important. So they will not have spent their day and energy all day doing other things to only now remember you as an afterthought at the end of the day, and to come and to request to come over to satisfy one particular need. And then imagine, maybe you'll wake up, you'll start cooking. Aye, 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 aye. So actually, let's go back to the beginning of that conversation. We said that what you did is that you changed your sheets. The question here is, do you sleep on dirty sheets? Do you sleep on dirty sheets? If you do, why? Why is it that you find that other people's experience as far as sheets are concerned on your bed are more important than yours? Why would you sleep on dirty sheets? What is the reason for that? You tell yourself that it's okay, it's just me, therefore I can make do. And these are the things that get into your psyche. If you believe that you do not deserve clean sheets, how can you deserve a good man? How can you believe that you deserve a good man? How can you believe that you deserve a good anything? It is how you treat yourself that determines how life treats you. Because you can only receive what you believe in. Again, we mentioned in this book, Date Like Cleopatra, if you do not believe in Santa Claus, he shall never bring you gifts. True? True. So if you do not believe that you are worthy of crisp, clean, nice smelling sheets just by virtue of being yourself, and yet other people do. Can you imagine that? This is an effort that you will put in place for other people, but not for you. And not to blame you incidentally, none of this tirade is meant to make you feel small and poor. Something else we go on in the book, that a lot of these things we have been taught, it's been ingrained into us as women. We have been taught that we are lower, we are less. So from that perspective, we could it is understandable that the feeling might be that we are not deserving of clean sheets. Other people are, but because we are the lowest of the lowest, there is no reason to go out of our way for us. And that is part of the belief system that we need to break. Because unless and until you consider yourself important, who else will? If you are not important to you, imagine that. How unfortunate. Because we'll say we leave it to God, but God has the whole world. Okay, that's not fair. You'll always be important to God, yes. But why can't you also be important to you? Do you think that God is wrong in finding you important? And if he finds you important, he or she finds you important, why wouldn't you put yourself under the same level? Why don't you agree with God? Yeah. So, okay, that was one. The other thing that you did is that you removed you changed into more appealing nightwear. So on that, I mean, what do you usually sleep in? What do you usually sleep in? And is that good enough for you? Because it could be, remember this conversation that used to be, what was it called? Sengenge ni, ngombe ni sengenge. Ama sengenge ni why? I can't remember what it was. This is a Kenyan topic. It was this T-shirt that would advertise barbed wire. And the conversation was that is what women often sleep in. In fact, I remember a joke of some guy who said that there was a commotion in the estate and everyone ran out. And he looked at the people who were there, and he saw some woman who he absolutely did not recognize, because she was dressed in layers and layers and layers of clothes that he assumed that it was the watchman. And this is, maybe like a fire. So everyone just running out with whatever it is they were in. And it's a funny story, but part of the question is, it goes back a bit to the same topic. How do you treat yourself when it's just you? When it's just you alone? How when it's you alone in your home? What do you dress up in? Is it do you only dress up for other people, or do you dress up for yourself? And this again goes back to the brainwashing, if I call it that. If you have been led to believe that you are not important, then you do not dress up for yourself. And by dressing up, I mean put something on that makes you happy, that makes you feel good, that makes you comfortable, such that when the text came at 11, you of course had to change Sengenge Ningombe and look for something cute. You're worthy of something cute. You can do that for yourself. And that goes back to a practice. It's the practice of doing things for you, making yourself important, that then means that then, how to put it, that then when you have that practice of doing things for yourself because you have elevated yourself in your own eyes and you feel yourself to be important, then you are like rigging the circuits of what had been taught into you. And with that rigging, you no longer need someone else to be the one that is elevating you. Because perhaps that's why you're accepting that text at 11 at night. Because then someone else has finally said that, oh, look, I am important. When the rest of the world has always told you you're not. No. When you start telling yourself that you are important, you then don't get excited when someone else tells you the same because you know it's not a surprise to you, you know. Yeah. So I had a couple of points, and I've just that perhaps was the introduction, but the points were, one of them was why accept this call at that night, at that time of night. And the points I have here is that you're lonely, you don't think you deserve better, you enjoy what it is that's coming, it's fun, it's for now. These are the things that we tell ourselves, yeah. The things that we tell ourselves. And in fact, in that topic of you enjoy it and it's fun, there is this book by Dr. Emily Nagoski. It's called Come As You Are. Fascinating book. Fascinating book. It's about how to put this how to put this without getting in trouble with YouTube. It's about the act. When this guy is coming in at 11, the act that is bound to follow. And she goes into great pains at explaining how the act has been presented to us from a male perspective, that the female system hadn't been studied like until, I don't know if she's the one who says this, but I read this somewhere, that it was in the, again I forget the time, but probably around, it was so ridiculously recently that someone took the time to study female genitalia and understand that it is much more extensive than what is seen externally. Eh, and from that, she mentions how the whole notion of the act has been prescribed and taught from the male perspective. What she says is that the fact that we think of it as a penetrative act as opposed to an engulfing act, if you see the nuance. So penetrating, because it is being looked at from the perspective of the man, that is what he is doing, as opposed to engulfing, if you take it from the perspective of the woman, because that is what she is doing. So it's really interesting to look at such conversations, because part of what she gets into is this notion that is portrayed on TV, that this act is meant to be performed in a particular way, and that the high point is reached in a particular way, and all that stuff. She says, forget all this, forget all of that, and have your own experience, because that's your reality. Don't feel that you're wrong. Don't feel that you're wrong because you have not followed the path that is taught on TV. Not at all, not at all, not at all. She says what is taught there has been taught from one particular perspective, like from half of the population, without ever turning by to ask the other half, what is the experience for you? So a lot of food for thought in terms of it's fun and it's enjoyed. Not to say that it is not to say that it is not. I mean, that's not what I mean at all. But to understand that someone who's texting you at 11 might not be as concerned about your pleasure. Yes, we are talking about this. You're talking about this. So to go out of your way to engage in that and to allow them such access, and yet maybe there are levels of enjoyment. So the level of enjoyment that you experience might be comparable to the baby pool, whereas there is the swimming pool, and then there is the Olympic size pool at the other end, and then there is a river and a lake and an ocean, meaning that there can be very many categories of pleasure. Oh, I hope this doesn't get banned. But you're bright girls, you get what I'm saying. So it could be that there you are at the shallow end, whereas there might have been so much more available if you had access to your own self in terms of respect, in terms of being able to stand your foot, being able to stand your ground and say that I am worthy of respect. And based on that, this is not what I will accept. And if you have that, because again, even the act involves some kind of communication. So in this situation where someone is knocking at your door at 11:30 midnight, you might not, and maybe they're drunk, maybe they're from heaven knows doing what the whole day. You might not feel empowered to be able to say that this is what I would like in terms of the act. Then why? Why? To keep him. What's to keep? There's someone I know who calls such men dusties. I find that very funny. Dusties and crusties. The people who you ideally should not really want to be with. And unfortunately, if what you have in your mind is that's the best that you can do, there is some work, some inner work that you need to do. And you'll find that in this book. The book is full of exercises that you actually just go through slowly at your own pace, no one looking at you, and discover within yourself what areas you need to delve into to be better placed while dating, to be able to make decisions that have you at the center. Yeah. Okay, then going quickly through the rest. Well, not quickly, we have time, we have our tea. But what I have here was also the effect. The effect of allowing such access to yourself is a lowering of your self-worth. You might feel, and especially in today's society, it is promoted. It is promoted to have a free, again, how to say this without getting banned. Not banned, but without, what they do, I think, is that they pull the video down. You might have, in today's society, it's more permissible to engage in the act more. I had the word was there, then it's disappeared. More freely, maybe it's not the word I had in mind, but that I guess can also do, and much more so, especially even for the younger generation. And it happens a lot with the dating apps, because it looks like the dating apps just set the stage for that this is what we're here to do. It is no longer dating. We are not courting. We are not trying to get to know each other. We are starting off in bed and then moving on from there, which is unfortunate. And especially for women, it's giving away so much. A lowering of your own power. It's a little, it is disempowering to believe that that is all you are worthy. That the only way to get a foot in into the dating sphere is to engage in the act. It's unfortunate because oftentimes it also would go against your own self view. So we talk about different parts, having different parts in ourselves, and there's a part of you that wouldn't want to, that feels that it doesn't, that it would rather say no. And whenever you go against that no, especially when it comes to giving your body away, it feels like such a betrayal because that part feels really let down by you. So it takes some healing to get over. And as I always say, here we're not blaming anybody. We're not blaming anybody. Don't blame yourself. Absolutely not. Have some compassion on yourself and understand that that is where you were. That is what you did at the time. Once you know more, you're empowered to do better or to do otherwise. Yeah. So that was self-worth. You teach yourself that your value is low. You teach yourself that you are easily available. You teach yourself that you're not worthy. Again, that goes back to the same point. And you teach others the same about you. So from this guy who has this access to the people he goes to tell about the access that he has on you, to your own friends who you tell about this thing, thinking that it's the best thing that ever happened, you're perpetrating a message about yourself that is not wholesome. And all of this, it has an effect because we want you to be a queen. We want you to be at the highest level because that is who you were born to be. You are the child of God. You are at the high, you're at the highest level. That is who you are. That is who you came to this earth to be. But unfortunately, because of the things that you were taught, you then lowered yourself because you were taught you're the good girl. You need to do things in a certain way. You need to let other people go first. You need to give space, give way. And so society or everything around you taught you to lower yourself. And unfortunately, then it becomes a belief. That was a belief in your mind that you are the lowest. So it's like you have this inheritance that you can't access because of all these things that are in your mind. And accessing it is actually very easy. Accessing it has to do with the inner work of finding yourself. I have a course on my site, shirondune.com, called Finding Me. And that's what it's about. It's how to reconnect to your essence, to who you actually really truly are before all these other messagings were put into your spirit and to your psyche. How to reconnect to your divinity, to who you really are. Okay. You're still on effects. Sometimes I can't read my handwriting. um it says, yeah, you feel optional. You don't deserve to be respected and treated better since you don't believe it. Oh, which is just sad, yeah. This is what you're teaching other people, that they can get away with mistreating you. And it's the case. Maybe that person who sent you a text telling you you'll come at 11, then it doesn't. It is super painful when that happens, but you've taught him that you'll be available. If he comes again at another day, on another day, proposing the same thing, you'll again jump around and be as accessible as you were before. So you train people on how to teach you. So if you're training him that it doesn't really matter, I shall always be here for you, go do you. I'll be the humble woman waiting by the door to serve you. And I don't know where we get these things from. To some extent, it could be also from the training on becoming little, becoming less. No, you don't need to be little and you don't need to be less. You can be empowered, you can be strong. And actually that is much, much more attractive to a man. than to have this doormat woman who will always be there with a hot meal waiting for him when he's been doing heaven knows what. Okay. So the advice here is get out. Get out of such a relationship. How you do that is by understanding your body is a temple and not a highway, is what I put here. Yeah. Your body is a part of you that is held hostage by you. I listened to a podcast where I heard it described that way, and that was eye opening because it was a lady on a podcast, and what she was saying is that imagine that your body at the end of time is asked to give account of how you treated it. What would it say? What would its feedback be? Would it be saying the way, wow, this, what would you be? This, not host. The body was a host, so you became the occupant. If you, this occupant was amazing. She treated me so well. She would feed me only the best of things. She would oil me and treat me so happily. She was very concerned about what I was going through. Or would it be how terrible, terrible? The body just kept being tasked to do things it never wanted to do and get into dangerous situations and that kind of thing. What would your body say? Yeah, and I found that very interesting. And it's actually, and that is inner work. Inner work is exactly that. Sit down, write down, just write about what response comes to mind, or even think about it if you don't want to write about it. Think about what treatment you've shown to your body this past year. Today is we're in February, so in the last couple of months, what have you been doing? How would your body say it has been treated this year? How would your body say it has been treated within your lifetime? Do you honor it? Do you consider it important? Do you constantly berate it? Because this again has an impact on you, because all of this is messaging to yourself. Yeah. We say here, valuing yourself. How do you value you? How do you learn that you are worthy of more than accepting that treatment, that mistreatment? How do I have it here? Yes, I mentioned here healing wounds, understanding the first time that you were devalued. Go back into your life, go back into your childhood, and see if you can find the first time where you were taught that you are not deserving of better treatment, where you were asked to be small, where you were asked to give your seat to someone else. Figuratively, of course, meaning when you were told that you, oftentimes for women, it's on account of being women. And they are told as a woman that you deserve less. Try to find that point, and those are the wounds that need to be healed, because it happens subconsciously. It's something that your mind was taught way back then. So the teaching has remained within your mind, even though you're not fully aware of it. I do this, the front part of your mind that categorizes things doesn't necessarily see it as straightforward, but it's a messaging that came from that was categorized such a long time ago that you're not aware that that's what you're doing. You're not aware that the reason that you're allowing such access to you is because you don't feel deserving of more, because way back when you were told that you don't deserve it. So more inner work. Go look into that. Go journaling for me is always the best solution to see these things and to express them, to get them out. To get them out, putting it on paper then releases it from my system. Then I don't need to be imprisoned by them any longer. Then let's see, what else do I have here? It's the note that no third party is more important than you. Yeah. I caution here on children, so I'm not talking about a mother-child relationship, but more on general, outside of that relationship, when pushed to treat everyone else better than you, and apparently that's something as women we do very well. It's part of the training that we have. I read somewhere that to get a woman to be compassionate about herself, it's easier to have her think of her child. Yeah. So the question would be, how would you feel if this were your child, all grown up, presumably, who is treated by disrespect by someone else? How would you behave? How would you, mother bear, come out to fight for the disrespect of your child? And if you don't have children, nieces, nephews, cousins, friends' children, if you saw them being treated that way, with disrespect, would you accept it? And assume that, to take their place, assume that this disrespect that you are getting is targeted towards them. See how you would react on their behalf, and react that way on your own behalf. Yeah. That is what I had on this point. It's something that takes some teaching. And that's, again, the book Date Like Cleopatra, The Good Girl Flips the Script. A lot of these things, these aspects on the dating life, aren't obvious, in terms of, it's not obvious that these choices that we're making are tied to other things and are detrimental to us. And that's what this little series that I've been doing now is all about. Just trying to bring these things to the fore. I feel we don't talk about them enough. We think that we are in control and we know exactly what we're doing, but having conversations like this brings it out and says, huh, do we? Is this what you actually want? Is this the life, the path that is yours, or is it because it's something that you had been taught and you don't even realize is within your system? I'd love to hear from you. Let's have your comments and let's start a conversation on Date Like Cleopatra. This topic also came up from a conversation I had with a friend of mine. And I really like that. I like having these conversations that bring out these topics. Please let me know in the comments any particular area that you'd want to talk about from the dating perspective. Let's talk about it. Let's demystify dating, and let's work together as women to, and men, of course, we have sympathetic men, to improve a lot. Because what we do, once you have this belief that you are worthy, then you raise your experience in life. You actually improve the experience of the man who is in your life as well, because they feel, he who gets a wife gets a good thing. He who finds a wife finds a good thing. So you are the good thing. But you are the good thing when you treat yourself with respect, when you are elevated in your own perspective of yourself. And then that then just has this like chain reaction. Your setup, it's like the women are a bit like the light. You are the light that then helps all these other people within society to find their path. But you have to be the light. You have to have found the light within yourself to be able to provide the guidance to others. That's what I had for you today. Thank you for joining me. I highly, highly appreciate you. Let me know in the comments what you think about this. And please subscribe, get the book. Again, it's out, Date Like Cleopatra. Bye bye.